Hey guys, welcome to episode 38 of the Next Stage podcast for men with Rob Stout. Today, Rob is in part 2 in a series on the 5 critical challenges facing every man. In episode 37, he talked about the challenges of a man's willingness to surrender his life to God and the purpose that results from that surrender. Today, Rob is talking about challenge number 3, which is rightly understanding one's career. While the culture teaches us that manning up means kicking butt, taking names, and taking the hill, Rob is talking about overcoming these challenges in a very different way. Whether you're at the gym, on a flight, driving to an appointment, or just relaxing, this podcast is a resource for you to take it to the next level. Here's Rob.
Do you know what the number 90,000 represents? 90,000. What does it represent? If you say, well, it's the number of hours you sleep in a lifetime, I don't know, you may be close. That's a mattress company statistic. You can go find that out on your own. 90,000. Is it the number of times you have sex in your lifetime? Well, good for you, I guess. I hope. But no, that's not it. 90,000 is actually the number of hours you work in a given life. There was a study done that found that, okay, so if you take that number, the number of hours in a week, and they said a 40-hour week, and multiply it across a person's career, that it's 90 hours that you spend working. I would say it's way north of that for me. I don't know that I've ever worked a 40-hour week in my life, but you're in that 90, maybe 130, 120, whatever it is an enormous amount of time that you spend working. 90,000 hours. And you might say, hey, I work way more than that. Good for you. Here's the point. 90,000 is a huge part of your life. It's a huge part of the number of hours in a day. It's a huge part of the number of hours that you have in your active years. And today we're going to take a look at the 5 critical challenges that men face today. We looked at number 1 and number 2, which was the challenge of surrender and the challenge of purpose. I would encourage you to go back and listen to that episode. It's number 37. But go back and listen to that. Today we're talking about the 3rd challenge that men face today, and it is in this area of this 90,000 issue, this career challenge. It's the challenge of career. Let's talk about this and frame it in this way. Something you need to know, something you need to feel, and something you need to do. First of all, the thing you need to know. The thing you need to know about a career and about actually work in general is this: that God created work, and work is good. Work is actually something God did way before human beings showed up on planet Earth. Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2 gives us a narrative of that God created and formed and worked. And in fact, he did it on a massive scale. He did it on a universal standpoint. He did it in forming planets and galaxies and stars and suns. And then when it comes to our little speck called planet Earth, it's a narrative of how he did that. That he was the one who worked and formed and designed and planned and molded everything that we see around us. The Bible actually starts with work. Isn't that amazing? It starts with work. It is part of the created order. It is part of actually the first chapter of Genesis has a command that God gives. It's called the creation narrative. The creation narrative is this. It's in Genesis 1:28. It says, and God blessed them, and that's the male and female that he put in the Garden of Eden in the narrative. God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over it and have over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth. You know what this line of work was called that he gave Adam and Eve? You know what this line of work of ordering and naming created order and organisms and classifications and species, there's an actual scientific name for it. It's the study of taxonomy. Now, this is very different from taxidermy. That is the study and the doing of stuffing and molding and shaping dead animals that undershoot. And if you're a taxidermist, man, I'll tell you what, my buddy Sean has a mountain lion. Whoever the guy who did that is right in the back of his desk. It is fierce to even look at on his credenza in back of his desk. But that's what taxidermy is. Taxonomy is ordering and giving names and classifications to the created order. And that was actually Adam and Eve's job. They were given the job of ruling over all that God had done, ruling over and tending to planet Earth and actually moving out on it and ordering it. Today, you could consider that job is still not done. When you are working in your lab and you're working on your study and you're working on writing your dissertation, or you're working on that engineering program, or you are working with those patients, or you are working with that sales team, you are working to develop that product, you are working to create that piece of art or write that song, or whatever you are doing, you are actually living out the creation mandate. You are still pursuing and designing and molding and shaping the things that God gave. The thing we need to know as we talk about this challenge is that God made work, and work is good. Work is good. We were made for it. Idle hands, they're not good, right? When a man sits around and does nothing and just creates havoc around him, he either moves out and uses his testosterone to form and to shape and to build and to mold and to be active with, or testosterone becomes a explosive fuel that blows up. And our world is full of examples of explosive men who are not using their fuel in the way that God made it. So that's the first thing. It's a mindset principle. The thing you need to know is that God made work, and work is good. The second thing comes down to really our feeling, and really this mindset. If you follow me here, your mindset around work yields a feeling. Okay? But here's what I found. My experience is this, that we either have, it's kind of a spectrum. We either have one of two mindsets, which yields one of two feelings in the way of work. The first mindset is this: the man is on my back. You ever hear that? The man is on my back. It's an attitude about work, a thought about work that is part of your mindset. That's part of, maybe not, hopefully not yours, but it leaks into the mindset, and it fuels a feeling called victimhood. That the man is on my back. And really, that mindset is also based in Scripture. And many would take their attitude about work and base it in Genesis 3, where this thing called the curse happened. When mankind, man and woman, revolted against God and basically said, we're doing it our own way. And with it came this thing called the curse. And the curse has many different elements to it. It has an element for women. It has an element for men. And here's the thing that lands on men, that work would be hard. Work would be hard, and the soil would be hard to tend, and it would be thorns and thistles, and it would produce what he's trying to do, which was farming, but it would be difficult. See, work is not the curse. Work is the blessing, but the curse yields the difficult things in it. Wonderful book around this subject is called Garden City. It's by John Mark Comer. And he says this in, I think, chapter 7 in that book. Curse does not mean a voodoo spell. It means that in the wake of human sin, there are far-reaching, irreversible, toxic changes to the experience of family and field. The family side of things was the curse that women had, which was a pain in childbearing and a difficulty in relationship with the husband. The field side of things was that the field would be tough, and it would be hard, and there would be thorns and thistles and troubles and all of that. And he talks about what is called he calls it a nagging sense of dissatisfaction with work. Maybe you're that way. You have a nagging sense of dissatisfaction with work. Boy, I know I do. And frankly, my wife is really tired of hearing about it. She's tired of me talking about how this is challenging and talking about how that is challenging, and having, wherever I have worked in the past, have a nagging sense of dissatisfaction. Well said, John Mark Comer. A study indicated that 70% are not engaged or feeling actively disengaged in their work, and that is in the United States. And we have it pretty easy, let's face it. I can't imagine what it's like in third world countries where people are basically assigned to a mine or assigned to a factory or assigned to a field. That's what they do. Us in the United States, we have the opportunity to choose from any number of things we would want to do. Not all of us, but a lot of us do. And yet we still have this nagging sense of dissatisfaction. You see, there creeps into the mindset, this mindset that the man is on my back. It gives way to a feeling of victimhood. And ultimately, listen to this, of not taking responsibility for your life to make it better. I kind of grew up around the mindset. I heard this over and over again as I grew up. You know, what have you done for me lately? That's a mindset of victimhood. A sales manager, thank God for this sales manager, set me right early on in my career. And he said, listen, not what have you done for me lately? What have you done for yourself lately? You feel the difference there? The feeling of victimhood of, oh, okay, the man's on my back. Oh, the man's on my back. He's coming to get me. What have I done for you lately? That's a victim mentality, man. That needs to stop when it comes to work. The better mentality is one that says, what have I done for myself lately? Even though this soil is hard to work, even though this career is hard to pursue, even though these sales numbers are hard to reach, what have I done for myself lately? And better yet, for the ones who are backing me, the family, the kids, the generations that I want to build, that God has entrusted me with. What have I done for myself and for those around me in my part of the kingdom lately? On that spectrum that we spoke about earlier, the other aspect of the spectrum is this. On that spectrum, the other part of that spectrum is workaholism. Workaholism, it basically has the mindset that says, I will find my purpose and my fulfillment in work. The feeling that's right under that comes from a message of I'm not good enough. That I have to live up to high expectations. Maybe you had a dad that was like that. It was never good enough and you had to live up to his expectations. Maybe it was that you don't feel valuable enough, or that you are not going to matter to anything, and so you have to run and you have to pace, and really the feeling is anxiety. It's fear that fuels that. And the response is, oh, yes, I can. Yes, I will be good enough. Yes, I will work harder. Yes, I will outpace everybody around me. And it is a fear monster that's driving after you and chasing you, and it takes the form of workaholism, which was basically overdosing on the opioid of work, of searching for fulfillment, for meaning, for purpose in what you do, and also avoiding relationships along the way. That's the other side of that. You have the one end of the spectrum that says you're a victim and the feeling is victimhood. The other end of the spectrum is fear that drives workaholism. And men, neither of those are appropriate. King Solomon, the wisest man outside of Jesus Christ who ever lived, did an exhaustive study in his life in finding meaning and purpose. And he checked out everything there was. Everything. Everything under the sun, he says. Work, power, projects, building. He built cities. sex. He had 700 wives. He had sexuality out the wazoo. He had wealth. He had wisdom. He was the man. And yet, his conclusion was that everything was fleeting. Fleeting. It was gone. It was fleeting. The phrase captured in English really doesn't do that Hebrew word that it was written in justice. Ecclesiastes 2:1 says, meaningless, says the teacher. Ecclesiastes 1:2 says, meaningless, says the teacher. Everything is meaningless. That word is fleeting. It's fleeting. Everything is fleeting. It's utterly fleeting, man. It's here and it's gone. Solomon, after searching everything to find meaning, his conclusion is that life is fleeting. Anne Lamott is credited with the phrase, 100 years from now, all new people. Think about it. The 100 years from now, I mean, it is 2025 as I'm recording this. Wow. 2125. I will be long gone, baby. Long gone. My grandson will probably be long gone as well. It'll be in the great-great-grandson era if you were to track it back. And yet, my question is, what will I invest my life in? What will I invest my life in? What will I invest those 90,000 hours in? It's an application of mindset and of the feeling. What do I need to think and what do I need to do? What will I do with my 90,000 hours? You know, when a good thing becomes an ultimate thing, ultimately that good thing becomes destructive. When a good thing like work becomes the ultimate thing, to pad your life with toys or with vacations or experiences or curated life that you put on Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. When a good thing becomes an ultimate thing, ultimately that good thing can become destructive. So what will you do with the challenge of career? Work is good, but if not put in the proper place, work can become an idol. When a good thing becomes an ultimate thing, ultimately that good thing becomes destructive. Men, why is it that when we were young, we all had coaches in our corner helping us become who and what we wanted to be? But now as grown men, we think we have to go it alone. That formula was modeled to us by rugged individuals who came before us, and yet the results then that we still see today are isolation, loneliness, depression, anxiety, and even lives that are blown up. You know what I'm talking about. Men, there is a better way, and you can experience it. In fact, I can prove it to you because I have seen the results of coaching in my own life, and it works. I'm Rob Stout with the Next Stage Podcast. In my personal life and executive level coaching, here's what I do. I help men get unstuck from the pitfalls of life so that they can live the lives of passion, purpose, power, and perspective that they were created for. I use some of the best tools in the coaching world, and I want to be the coach that you need in your corner to get you where you want to be. For more information, simply send me an email, thenextstage@sherpaunlimited.com, and let's get you moving to being the man you were created to be. Man, we've talked about this challenge of career, and we've talked about what you need to know and what you need to feel. And before we get into what you need to do, I want to follow up that break we just took about coaching. You know, jumping into that with you would be an honor. It's amazing to sit and to be able to talk with other men and sit and help them process through this and really find this area of purpose and meaning in what they do in work. So if that's something you want to reach out, would love to talk to you. Email me, thenextstage@sherpaunlimited.com. So we've talked about this challenge of career and what you need to know, that work is created as part of the created order, that God made work and work is good, that the feeling is neither two ends of the spectrum of this is going to fulfill my life 100% and falling into workaholism, or victimhood and the man is on my back. That's not it either. Instead, it's a mindset of God made work and work is good, and I have the ability to invest that wisely. Now, lastly, what do you do? What do you do in this area of this challenge of career? And here it is, very simply. Finding your work, finding your job, finding your path, finding what you do and doing it well, that is your job as a man. Young men, and there are plenty of young men who listen to this. Listen, it is your job as a man to find out what you're good at, to investigate what you're gifted and talented in, to find out what you're good at. And a lot of that is just trial and error. It is. It's just finding it out. It's finding a mentor. It's finding an opportunity and just going and checking it out and giving yourself the freedom to go do that. But I know some men that listen to this program who they are listening it from the comfort of their parents' house, on their butt, in their room, playing video games, living off their parents' dime well into their 20s. There are some situations I understand where somebody needs to do that. They're disabled. They need to do that. I get it. Believe me, I get it. There are other situations where a man moves home to take care of his aging parents. I've got a friend who is doing that. That's not what I'm talking about. So please don't lump this in that bucket. But what I am saying is that young men, it's time to get going. They've supported your butt for 20 years. It's time to get moving. And I'm a Gen Xer. I get that. This is a bit generational, but not really. You know what we called somebody who lived at home into their 20s, not in school, just kind of doing it, living off their parents' dime, and then complaining about how bad their parents' house was? Losers. It was not a thing. We did not do that. And yet somehow, generationally, it's become something that men do. And quite honestly, it's pathetic. It may be time for you to move on. Parents, this is on you, dads, as well. This is on you as well. You know what? There is a reason that baby birds get kicked out of the nest. Why would that be? Well, apparently, Big Bird knows what's good for Little Bird. Little Bird's ready to go. Little Bird might have to face some danger, but Little Bird facing adversity in his life, it's probably a good thing because it'll make him a big bird, right? Apparently, the little bird doesn't want to go by himself, so he needs kicked out. And friends, some birds just need a kick in the butt to get going, and shouting along the way as they're falling out of the nest, "You can do it," right? You can do it. Man, dude, you can do it, buddy. You've got this. Go. Oh, it hurts. You stubbed your toe. I get it. Let me jump down there and tell you it's going to be okay. Now go. See how I built that nest? I did that. You go build your own nest. Go for it. I'm going to encourage you and help you out along the way. But it might be time to kick that little bird out of the nest. See, a man's career is a huge challenge. Working to find the talents that he's good at, some trial and error, some skills assessment, some education, some job training, entering into a trade school. It does not matter what color of collar you end up with. Whether you are a brain surgeon, whether you are a craftsman, whether you are a plumber, an engineer, a stockbroker, a carpenter, a truck driver, regardless of what you are, finding and developing who you are is what you need to do in this area of career. Young men, get moving. Older men, keep moving. You see, God doesn't just put you here on planet Earth to sit still. There's something else, though. God also doesn't put you in on this planet to look for an interpretation of somebody else that you can give. In discovering and finding your niche, your talents, your skill set, what's in you, what gold is in you that can come out, God isn't looking for you to just give your best impersonation of somebody else's gifts and talents. I struggled for that for years. I struggled with, man, I'm not that guy, but if I could just speak and be dynamic like him, or if I could just act really calculated and really smart like that guy. There is a famous quote from an ancient rabbi by the name of Rabbi Zushi. And Rabbi Zushi said this. He said, in the coming world, they will not ask me, why are you not Moses? They will ask me, why are you not Zushi? Why in the coming world? They will not ask me, Rob, why are you not the best Jim? Why are you not the best Mike? Why are you not the best Dave? Why are you not the best Joe? They will very simply ask me, Rob, why were you not the best Rob that there could be? I remember when I was a kid, they were running an excavator outside of my grandparents' home. They were laying pipe and putting drainage in. And I remember looking at my mom and going, man, Mom, I want to be a ditch digger when I grow up. It was cool, man. Those guys were dirty. They had shovels. They worked. They were working hard. And I was like, man, that's awesome. Look at what they did. My mom looked at me and she goes, if you're going to be a ditch digger, just be the best ditch digger you can be. She didn't shame ditch digging. She didn't say, you know what? No, you need to be a doctor. You need to be a gifted brain surgeon. She just said, be the best that you can be. As we talk about this, I think it is really, really important for you to understand that the thing you need to do is to get moving in your career, to keep searching, to keep finding. Maybe it's a mid-career change that you need to make. Those are scary. I've been through them. I'm in one of them right now. But keep moving, keep discovering, and keep owning what God gave you. And may you be a man who thinks, who feels, and who does work well.
Hey guys, producer Chris here, and I want to talk to you about the next Sherpa Unlimited retreat for men coming up this September. You know, finding your passion, power, purpose, and perspective doesn't come by accident. It requires intentionality, and you discover it with like-minded men. The With Everything retreat is a weekend experience that intentionally interrupts your busy life to learn what it means to be created in God's image. Join me and Rob Stout and the men of Lifegate Church of Denver for the With Everything men's retreat at the beautiful Silver Cliff Ranch near Buena Vista, Colorado. We're meeting from September 12 through 14, 2025. That's less than 12 weeks away, and I don't want you to miss out, so register today. Go to SherpaUnlimited.com/lifegate or email thenextstage@SherpaUnlimited.com. Also, if you're part of a scouting team for the men's ministry at your church, this is a great opportunity to learn about the With Everything retreat experience. Just email thenextstage@SherpaUnlimited.com.
Men, we've taken a look at this challenge of career and what you need to think, what you need to feel, and what you need to do in this area of career. The call to action is your call to action. And it's this: what is one step that you can face as you take on the challenge of career? What is the challenge, that the call to action that you can have for yourself? Would it be grabbing a coach? Would it be taking a class? Would it be getting with somebody and saying, hey, I need to have some assessment done and finding out what my natural gifts and talents are? I need to have a sense of what my strengths are. That's phenomenal. I do that in coaching with men. I would love to help you in that. Maybe it's for you. It's taking a look at your mindset It's taking a look at your mindset and saying, man, that is really not healthy, what I've been thinking and what I've been feeling. And as a result, I have not been performing well. I've been playing the victim role, or I've been quitting. What is one thing you can do? Write it down right now, and then email me. I would love to hear what your call to action is. The next stage at SherpaUnlimited.com, I would love to hear. You see, men, the stakes are high. You only get one life. And of that, 90,000 hours, probably minimum, is invested in work. Throwing that away, or just squandering that away, or just dialing in the hours until I get to retire someday, and then I'm going to play golf and fish and sit on my butt and complain about politics. Really? That's your idea of fulfillment? May you be a man who takes that 90,000 hours, and may you be a man who invests that 90,000 hours in something meaningful to you, that matches up with who you are, and that blesses the world around you and impacts this generation and the next, and hopefully eternity as well. Thanks for joining The Next Stage. We'll see you on our next episode as we talk about challenge number 4 that men face, and that's the challenge of relationship. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us for the Next Stage podcast with Rob Stout. The Next Stage is a production of Sherpa Unlimited executive and personal life coaching for men, based in Denver, Colorado. Learn more at SherpaUnlimited.com/The Next Stage, or visit Sherpa's communities on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. For questions, comments, or feedback, email us at thenextstage@SherpaUnlimited.com. The Next Stage distributes episodes every 2 weeks on Wednesday mornings. The Next Stage helps men built in God's image live their life with passion, power, purpose, and perspective. And the key to doing this is by exploring the ancient wisdom found in the Holy Scriptures. If you don't have a copy of the Bible, you can visit any public library and check one out. Or just download a free online Bible app called YouVersion for your smartphone. Go to your smartphone's app store and search YOU Version and select the YouVersion Bible. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.